Hello everyone, my name is Sandhya Shenoy and I am here today at Motherhood with my gynecologist Dr. Madhushri Vijay Kumar, who has also delivered my two beautiful babies.
Dr. Madhushri Vijay Kumar is a consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at Motherhood Hospital and has nearly 20 years of experience. She has delivered over 8,000 babies. Her interest lies in high-risk pregnancy, reproductive endocrinology and fertility care with special interest in natural birth and promoting normal vaginal deliveries. She has extensive experience in working in India, Australia and United Kingdom and is involved in teaching and training postgraduate doctors for appearing for the MRCOG examinations. She has several publications to her credit as well.
So we are here to talk about sustainable menstruation, menstruation in general, plastic-free menstruation, and we are going to have this as a series. Let's go on to have this communication with Dr. Madhushri.
Thank you, Sandhya, for the introduction. I'm Dr. Madhushri Vijay Kumar, consultant obstetrician and gynecologist at Motherhood Hospitals, Hebbal. Coming to the myths and the taboos, what we intend to discuss, I think the generation of mothers, where our generation, where we have gone through this, we probably understand our daughters better now. And then, as you said, rightly said, the puja, what they do at the first onset of menstruation, is a way of celebrating your first reproductive right. I think it's okay, as long as you're not making difficult for the child and not making her feel her awkward or embarrassed. I think it is okay, as long as you say this is for your good health, dear, let's celebrate. And then she is also coming in terms. And I also would like to emphasize, if you can involve the brother and the father in this celebration, it becomes even more relevant to the child, rather than letting the child alone and then going through and then probably make her sit for 3 days. I don't think most of the urban India are doing that, but I'm sure rural India is still doing, but everything had relevance in the pre-Vedic period of why the child has to be rested, why are you not going to allow the child inside the kitchen to do things or the women to do things, because they wanted to rest, but they took it in an opposite way. That if you, the worst thing I've heard is, if you touch food, it's going to get rotten.
Because you're coming out with impure blood.
Impure blood, yes. So, these are the myths. I think it's going away because a lot of educational activities in school level is happening to eradicate, the myths and the taboos, but it is still relevant. You don't go to puja room because, God will get angry, or the prasadam or the naivedyam what you have offered will, be rotting there. There's so many myths and taboos with that. The very, very relevant topic is that when you are say curdling you're preparing the curd, it won't get curdled, or as silly
Naive
as that, are still relevant. Going to the temples and this have their own pre-Vedic statements, but let us not discuss about, because we don't want to hurt any religious sentiments based on that, but they are all definitely myths. They are all the taboos. Our main discussion today is to reduce those myths and taboos, and to say that this is something biological phenomenon. Just allow it to happen on its own, and understanding and talking about menstruation easily with all the family members makes lives of that girl and the woman much more easier to deal, because we already have lot of PMS and painful periods and heavy menstrual bleeding and anemia. Added to that, if you have this emotional burden of how to tackle when I'm having a menstruation, is going to add it all onto that.
We talk about the problems a girl faces at the beginning of the menstrual cycle. I think all girls go through the phase of irregular periods, and you get onto regular periods. They hesitate to talk about it because it goes for days together. They don't know how to address. And OB-GYNAC access, now again, when you're talking about in rural areas, you don't have GYNAC access. Mothers of today, some of them may not be comfortable to tell their spouses or to take the girl to a doctor to address irregular periods. True. Because they think that, oh, is something wrong with my child. Though mothers do understand that we have ourselves gone through it, and it is likely that she needs help.
Correct.
That is still not being addressed, and I think girls feel more comfortable to talk to their friends or their teachers about True. It. as of today. So what is this, when we say about 5-day menstrual cycle, or when a girl starts through menstruation, what is the cycle a lady goes through till she is probably settled and having regular periods?
Right. The basic part of the menstruation, as you said, the first onset of menarche or the first menstrual bleed gives us a right of reproduction, but the reproductive system is still not ready. So the cycle, when a child attains her first cycle till about 16 to 18 years of age, can be erratic. That means she can have a 21-day cycle, she may have a 45-day cycle, or she may not have cycles for 3 to 6 months. Do not panic, it's okay, because the system still takes time for it to get adjusted, what we call as HPO axis. So menstruation is simply not shedding off the lining of the womb, it's coming from the brain. So there is a hypothalamus, there is a pituitary gland, and there is an ovary from where the signals all have to coordinate and then have a shedding or the menstrual bleed. So the cycle setting in itself will take time. So by 18 to 19 years of age, it is set, and then she starts getting regular periods, reasonably regular cycles. I mean, regular cycles is, for some women it is 25 days, some women it is 35 days, but it is still all right.
And it's normal.
And it is okay. A 2 to 3 day flow, then post-menstrual spotting of 2 to 3 days, that on an average about 5 days flow is reasonable. And then this goes on till about she's 42, 43 years of age. When there is a change of the cycle pattern, they tend to have a little delayed cycle or a little earlier cycle. So sometimes women have cycle literally every 21 days. As long as it is not heavy and she's not becoming anemic, it is still okay.
What about the problems around having excess body pain or having excessive pain, where some girls even shout and scream because they cannot tolerate that pain?
Pain, yes. So the initial formative years of the reproductive system, when they have the dysmenorrhea or what we call as painful periods, to some extent, if it is not coming in her day-to-day activities, she is able to attend school regularly, she is able to do her homework regularly, she is able to do her other extracurricular activities regularly, and basically not coming in the way is manageable. But in case if it becomes to a stage when she is actually having a school absenteeism, she is unable to focus in other things, in what she would do on another day, she will definitely need help. Now, majority of the times, if I do an ultrasound, I would not be able to pinpoint a particular reason of why she is having. So we put it down as congestive. Basically, there is an increased blood flow to the pelvic organs. They tend to have painful periods. When they have spasmodic, that means if it is coming and going, that means I have to worry about something. So that's when I tell them, come and seek help. Let me arrange for a scan and then find out if there is any concern. Again, when we do a small ovarian cyst, it can be endometriosis, it can be anything for that matter causing that pain. Then I'll have to intervene and give her a relevant information and treatment according to that.